Honestly, we just need someone who can hold literally hold space until winter when we actually use. Our treasure, she couldn't make any of the trees. I don't want to sweat it. No, Claire first. I'm telling Elena she has to do it the decade to help this.
Uh, yeah, it does. Fails to detect your microphone speaking. Microphone, it says on there. Oh, it's going through the camera. So,
As far as the stuff indoor fitness and speakers. Probably less. Yeah. No.
Hi there, virtual participants. Can you hear me all right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, it's a good sign, good sign. We're having a few technical difficulties on our end. Please bear with us while we get all this going here.
Make sure your speakers connected to the.
Yeah, that'll run through the, oh, it does one of these. Hang on. Okay. It is.
Ask Lance to say something again.
Lance, can you say something if you hear me?
Red flags.
Red flags, all right. It wasn't an order. Okay, Lance, you can hear us okay?
Yup.
All right, we've got Emily. I can just sort of administer this while you call to order.
I need an agenda. Should I just use my phone? I mean, I can use my phone.
You don't have the votes. You
Yeah. I'm scared. Dog was already. Not even realize. I mean, should I declare?
Yeah.
All right, everybody. I'm so sorry for the technical difficulties. This computer has to had an update. But now that it is updated, we're gonna go ahead and get started. This meeting is called to order at 5:49 p.m. First order of business is roll call. No, not that good.
logged into the OUSC account. Yes.
Log into, get logged into.
The roll call.
Oops.
So that basically what'll happen is both laptops will be on it, but.
I understand.
Voting.
I understand.
And share your screens.
Oh God. Okay. Not help that this machine apparently can't handle that. Is the legislature standing at ease? Oh, window. All right, folks, we got the roll call.
All right.
Time to
Speaker
go.
DeVore,
Present voting.
Majority Leader Brummer, Judiciary Chairperson Fayetteville,
Present voting.
Steering Chairperson Valdez,
Present.
Click. Oh. Well, it looks like me.
Commuter Support Chairperson Waters,
Present voting.
Parliamentarian Vella,
Present.
Legislator Black,
Present and voting.
Legislator Wiki,
Present.
Legislator Iveza,
Present.
Legislator Lunger,
Present.
Legislator Maku, Legislator Markowitz,
Present.
Legislator Martino, Legislator Mays, Legislator Mason, Legislator Obra,
Present.
Legislator Christandaro,
Present.
Legislator Rosario,
President voting.
Legislator Serbu,
Excused.
Legislator Snell, Legislator Wiegand,
Excused.
Legislator Wolf. All right, and with that, we have one. All right, moving on to our next order of business. Oops.
Point of order. Legislator Snell's voting.
All right. All right, moving on to our land acknowledgement. Further, we recognize the wrongs done to those forcibly removed from their homelands and commit to fostering an environment of inclusion that is responsive to the needs of First Peoples through our words, policies, and actions. Moving on to the next order of business is approval of meeting minutes from July 23rd, August 6th, August 13th, and September 9th. Are there any discussions at this time? Well, we will go into a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, the meeting minutes from those meetings have been approved.
Point of information, I think you marked me as absent.
Who is that?
Legislator Mason.
Are you present or present and voting?
Present.
LJ.
Didn't know I was
All
supposed to be in
right.
30 places at once.
Moving on to the approval of the agenda. Are there any amendments to the agenda at this time? Speaker DeVore.
Pull it up real quick. I'm so sorry, I'm trying to pull up the agenda. Do we have the agenda on the screen? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying my best here, y'all.
Yeah. I said motion to move CB. Okay, whichever bill is Monarch's Ofrenda, motion to move that until point B on new business.
Is there a second? All right. No one's opposed. You said point B.
Yes.
Are there any other amendments to the agenda? All right, hearing none, we'll be going to a voice vote. All in favor?
Yeah.
All opposed? All right. Next, we have our guest speaker presented by Marcus Johnson. Okay.
So, today we are joined by Mr. Omar Brown L., the Senior Director for the Center for Multicultural Initiatives, someone we've partnered with on many occasions for campus events. I will turn the floor over to him because we all have limited time today. It's not yet. Mr. Brown L., the floor is yours. Right over here.
Okay, Good evening, Mr. Brownell, Senior Director for the Center for Multicultural Initiatives, and I thank you, President Johnson and Vice President, members of Student Congress for inviting me. It's a privilege to be here. Just before I talk about the Center for Multicultural Initiatives, let me just give you a little bit of background on myself and the office. I am a two-time Oakland University alumni. I did have a degree in education, master's degree in counseling, and during my time as an undergraduate student, I served on Oakland University Student Congress. I was the president of the Association of Black Students for 2 years. I was also on the African American Celebration Month Committee and a host of other initiatives as an undergraduate student. One key significant thing during my undergraduate time was as the president of the Association of Black Students, I was charged with establishing the Office of Minority Equity, and this was in 1993. And so there were student-led protests by myself and members of the Association of Black Students with the then president, Dr. Sandra Packard, in an effort to bring about the Office of Minority Equity. That office was established in 1993. The name was later changed to the Office of Equity in 1998. And in 2003, the name was changed to the Center for Multicultural Initiatives. What's also important to note during that time in 1993, I was asked by the university president, as the president of the Association of Black Students, to interview the then candidates for the Office of Minority Equity. There was a national search for the director, and there were 5 candidates that came before the university, and I interviewed all 5 of those candidates and made my recommendation to the university president, whom I thought would be the first and founding director of now the Center for Multicultural Initiatives. That person was Glenn McIntosh, and our relationship started at that point some 31 years ago. Little did I know that I was creating a job for myself as an undergraduate student that I would later return to be the senior director of the Center for Multicultural Initiatives. But here I stand before you today as the senior director for the past 10 years. With that being said, the Center for Multicultural Initiatives was founded for the purpose of advancing Oakland University's initiatives of diversity, so that all students would have access and resources and have a voice here in terms of their retention, graduation, and sense of belonging at the university. So what we have done over the last, I would say almost 30 years, is to establish ourselves as a high quality, high performing office that provides resources such as scholarships to Oakland University students. One of our premier scholarships is the Oakland University Trustee Academic Success Scholarship, which was founded again by Mr. Glenn McIntosh in 1994. This is a nationally recognized scholarship, has the highest performing GPA of any cohort student at Oakland University, highest retention rate, highest graduation, highest GPA of any cohort student, whether it be presidential, scholars, athletes, honors college, etc. We have done so proudly for the last almost 30 years now. We also have a program that is similar to our Otis program, which is our core program for students who come to the university with a less than a 3.0 GPA. Those students are eligible to participate in the program, to receive scholarships, to receive mentor, ambassador, and support services from the CMI office. That is a highly effective program. We generally take in about 60 students annually to participate. We have been doing so with the support of the state of Michigan King Chavez Parks Initiative for a greater part of 20 years. Outside of those 2 marquee programs, we host some campus programming associated with celebration months. The two that are responsible, that we have liaisonship over from the entire campus community, is what we're currently doing now is Hispanic Heritage Month, which starts annually nationally on September 15th and concludes on October 15th. So if you have participated in any of our Hispanic Heritage Month events this year, I certainly appreciate that. And if you have not, there's still time to do so, where the events are concluded next week on the 15th. We also host African American Celebration Month, which also starts for us on MLK Day, which is always the third Monday of January, and runs to the, if it's the 19th of January, then it concludes on the 19th of February, right before we have winter break. So you're more than welcome to host an event. I think we've had a member of the Student Congress on that committee for a number of years. If you're here, I don't know who that person is, but you're more than welcome to contribute as members of Student Congress on events or to support the months in financial or otherwise. The Keeper of the Dream Scholarship Award celebration was established 1 year prior to the Center for Multicultural Initiatives, and it was done by our interim director, who was Dr. Kevin Early at the time. He established the Keeper of the Dream Scholarship. At the time, I was the first student presenter for the Keeper of the Dream Scholarship, which now boasts over 100 students that have received that award for almost $500,000 in total over the last 30 years. Students are eligible to receive up to $10,000. The scholarship awards for those students who have contributed most to improve race relations on our campus, who have high achieving grade point averages. We have a Keeper of the Dream Scholarship recipient. Your vice president won the award last year. Those scholarship applications are due this Friday. If you're interested, please submit your application. It does require a 3.0 GPA and the other qualities in terms of being a good academic standing and with no conduct with the dean's office is always appropriate. So we're very excited about that event. Other things that are out of the Center for Multicultural Initiatives, we do provide book loans, interest-free to Oakland University students. There's an application process, so students would need to fill out the application. It generally takes 48 hours to get a response. The minimum GPA requirement is a 2.5. So once the loan has been distributed, you require that it's paid back at the end of the semester, interest-free. So $200 has been used, and it would be $200 that would be returned to our account. We also have opportunities for students to work in the CMI office. If any of you are interested in becoming a mentor, certainly we go through our recruitment process starting in November. That process concludes for us in March. The position starts at $15 an hour with 75-cent increments each year. The student remains on our team. And those students are mentoring about 6 to 7 first or second year students as an opportunity to help them in their first and second year. Those are the primary functions of our office. I also have in my portfolio reporting to me the Gender and Sexuality Center, which is headed up by our coordinator, Blake Elon, and we run some similar programs in there where students can receive mentorship. And there are a host of programs that come out of the Gender and Sexuality Center. Most notably, the drag show, which is, I think we just reached year 19. So if you've been to the drag show before, it's a great time. Please come out. That's usually sometime in March. And then we have Pride Prom and Lavender Graduation for students who identify or who wish to participate in those programs and services. Also reporting to me is the Veteran Support Service Office. We have, if you don't know, we have roughly about 300 veterans on our campus or military connected students. Those are students who are receiving benefits because a parent or grandparent was in the service and are now receiving benefits. And so again, we have about 300 students who are certified through our veterans office, which is in Vandenberg Hall on the lower level, right beneath the cafeteria area. So I don't know if we have any military or veterans in the office, but appreciate your service. Primarily out of that office is to certify those students and ensure that they have their benefits. So if you know of students that you're working with and they're not connected with the veterans office, please encourage them to go over there. There may be some untapped benefits that are due them by way of whatever chapter benefit that they're receiving. So that should be information that you're sharing with current students or potential students that if they choose to come to Oakland University, we do have a one-stop shop veteran support service office that provides them with their certification process. And then there's some programming. Veterans Appreciation Week happens during Veterans Day, which is the 11th, 10th in November. And so we commit our time to having an appreciation week for our veterans on campus. So again, we encourage you to come out and participate with the support services that we have for veteran students on our campus. Those are the primary functions. I'm not sure, I don't recall if you gave me a lot of time. I certainly can continue to talk about the resources, but I may want to open it up to any questions that you might have about the Center for Multicultural Initiatives, Gender and Sexuality Center, or Veteran Support Services here at Oakland University. Hi.
Okay, this might not be working. I'm just gonna talk really loudly so everyone can hear me. So I know you mentioned that your office has textbook loans.
Yes.
I wanted to ask specifically, do you have students that tend to default on those loans? And if so, what consequences might they face? And if that is the case, is there anything Student Congress could do to potentially help support those students that can't afford to pay back the loans?
Well, certainly there's bad debt. Students, for whatever reasons, are unable to pay. Typically, what happens when a student takes out a loan, there is a hold placed on their account so that we can ensure that at least they're going to respond to us. So that hold restricts them from registering for the next semester. We do offer some flexibility in terms of repayment. If a student is in good faith, has made some payments, that they can pay in one lump sum, or they can make weekly payments or monthly payments, whatever they decide to do. So there is, in good faith, if a student has made payments, that we can release the hold temporarily so they can make adjustments. But from time to time, there is bad debt. So if Student Congress would be interested in assisting students, if there's some resource available for students who are unable to make payments, we could make arrangements to do so by whatever fund could just be transferred to the account in the student's name. And so if that's something that this body would be interested in doing, we certainly welcome the opportunity to help students who might not be able to make the payment or complete the payment process.
As a follow-up to that,
Please.
and it's okay if you don't have the figures right off the top of your head.
Please.
Do you know how many students every semester typically default on their loans, or what?
It's a smaller number. I would say it might be less than 10% of the students that are defaulting. If we give out 30 loans, I would estimate that maybe 3 or 4 students would have not made the payment by the end of the semester. Okay. It's not an overwhelming number for us. So oftentimes that debt has just been written off as bad debt. And in most of those cases, those students, for whatever reason, have not returned to the university. They're not continuing. Something else has happened. So whether it was tuition or they're just not in good academic standing, typically those students who have not paid the debt, there's some other circumstances there, and most of the time they have not returned to the university. So we count it as bad debt.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate the question. Thank you.
Are there any other questions at this time? Thank you so much, Mr. Alvarez.
Thank you for the time.
Moving on to announcements. As I'm not seeing any on the agenda. Legislation now?
Yeah, they're just all quiet.
Okay, I guess I'll just talk really loud and hope this does something. I just want to remind everyone on behalf of Grace Recovery that we have the color walk coming up, I believe, the 11th, which is this Saturday. Feel free to come on out. It's around 4:30 at Bear Lake. Very fun. Yeah, that was all. Thank you.
Really briefly, just to add on to that, if anyone is interested in helping to volunteer for that event this weekend, let me know, and I'd be happy to share your contact info with Dr. Schwartz to get you connected to all of that.
Seeing other announcements, we'll move on to discussion. First, one discussion is the Metro Product Initiative presented by President Johnson.
Hello, everyone. We've all had a very interesting past couple of days. So I want to start by offering some insight into my brain, and then going into what I've been told is happening lately, and then see where we can go from there. So last week, Vice President Matthews and I met with Vice President Mackey, the Finance and Administration, in an effort to continue the move we've been pushing for the past few years of institutionalizing the menstrual product initiative. And we met with him, we got a proposal from him of what the university was willing to do with regard to that. Now, here's where a few different pathways ended up occurring. My intention was to communicate that proposal to the legislature, let the legislature discuss it with the legislature, so that I knew what to take back to him when we were to talk to him again. That did not happen. From what I've learned and seen, I did communicate it to the speaker. I talked to the speaker before about it, out of hopes that it could be discussed at the legislature meeting on Friday. I've learned that throughout that process, there are many very passionate feelings with regard to the proposal that was made, but I've also learned there are many miscommunications that have been made as regard to my approach to this proposal. Starting with, actually, I will read it. I was delightfully greeted on Saturday when I was with the speaker of circulating posts that said, "Alert to OU students! Student Congress President Marcus Johnson and VP Mackey are trying to gut," I emphasized it because it's in all caps, "the free menstrual product initiative products on campus. This program is run by volunteers in Student Congress, and we stock all 91 dispensers on campus. If they accept the proposal given, it will cut down to only 25 for all of OU. This going through would be a disaster. See our response below. Get in touch with me or another legislator if you want to volunteer or make your voice heard. We need all the help we can get to stop this." To which then followed to an entire statement against the disparagement of the menstrual product initiative, which I will start by saying, I'm actually quite proud at how quickly the legislature is willing to mobilize about these certain things, and it's about time they were able to do so for our task force, because I was getting really worried about the attendance of those. But the statement reads, last week, Student Body President Marcus Johnson and Student Body Vice President Mia Matthews met with Vice President of Financial Affairs and Administration Steve Mackey to discuss institutionalizing the menstrual product initiative by Oakland University Student Congress. Vice President Mackey proposed that Oakland University administration fully take on the cost and staffing of 17 dispensers on campus. And would cut the amount of dispensers per building down to 1, completely eliminating dispensers in gender-neutral restrooms and removing all but 1 per building. OUSC would retain full responsibility for filling and stocking 8 of the dispensers on campus with a North Foundation and South Foundation Hall. Currently, OUSC maintains 91 dispensers across campus, 48 of which were purchased by the Student Activities Funding Board and several student organizations. Per this proposal, we would cut down to 25 dispensers on campus. The remaining 66 dispensers would be sold away, and OUSC and SAFB would receive the money back. This initiative has been one of OUSC's largest and most popular initiatives since it was founded. Countless people on our campus utilize these resources provided every day, and countless would be left without these resources should we accept this proposal. Over the course of the weekend, many members of the Student Congress Legislature, Executive Board, and SAFB advised President Johnson and Vice President Matthews against approving this proposal. Along the fence at first, President Johnson said that if the legislature didn't come up with a method of staffing the initiative satisfactory to him, he would accept the proposal regardless of the opinions of the rest of the organization. As a counter proposal, we have come up with a plan to staff the initiative as it stands. 48 people, both within and outside OUSC and SAFB, have pledged to volunteer their time to fill menstrual products during the week. Additionally, we plan on offering community service hours to student organizations who volunteer their time to build the menstrual product dispensers, along with advertising volunteer hours to be given through the Honors College. Utilizing this new volunteer system, myself, I'm assuming that's Speaker DeBoer, Majority Leader Brunner, Chairperson Ludwig, and former President Garcia are working to develop a new system to ensure consistent staffing throughout the week, measures to hold staff and volunteers accountable, and to ensure accurate tracking information of both inventory and how often dispensers are filled. We plan on having scheduled dates for different buildings to be filled, forms and spreadsheets to track how often and what time, how often and how many pads and tampons are being used, and a form to track who is filling what dispensers at what time. While our current staffing has not been perfect in the past, we believe we have a very strong community support for this initiative. And establishing a volunteer system through the community will help greatly in ensuring the longevity and staffing of the initiative. As an organization, we find this blatantly disrespectful as colleagues to this administration if we agree to this proposal. OUSC members will have been completely left out of the conversation. SAFB, despite having purchased over half of the dispensers, was not even notified by the administration and will have had no say in the final decision. Notably, the entire board voted unanimously to oppose this proposal. However, they are still ignored by this administration. We also find this incredibly disrespectful to the student body at large. They have no input or say in this major decision that affects many of them. Making this decision harms OUSC and sets back our organization by years of work, countless hours, fighting to improve the initiative, thousands of dollars in funding to provide for the initiative, and countless hours of staff in order to upkeep the initiative will all be put to waste in one fell swoop. If we decide to gut this program, we as an organization will fail at our one purpose, to work for the betterment of student life at Oakland University. And there will be no one to blame but the 2 people sitting in the executive office. We, the undersigned members of the OUSC Legislature, Executive Board, SAFB, students of Oakland University, and student organizations formally oppose this proposal in its entirety. We demand that the OUSC administration listen to both the organization and the student body that they represent and deny this proposal. Finally, we hereby pledge to stand behind the existing initiative and will not tolerate any cuts or other attacks to it. Signed, Clover DeVore, Marion Brunner, Ethan Bella, Valentine Fayette Tatay, Jack Waters, Mario Christian Colin Black, Kayla Snell, Allison Drzwicki, Violet Serbu, Carol Obra, Javier Rosario, Michael Maku, Ben Wolf, Matthew Egan, Riley DeMont, Zach Van Patten, Hallie Ludwig, Rose Mary LeBron, I didn't know about Mary. Tuba Bouchard, Jonathan Mullins, Jimena Garcia, Gio Yadi, Taylor Richardson, Maddie Della Rosa, Charlotte King, Imani Smith, Victoria Deschauzer, I believe, Committee Vaughn, Ash Bashir, Lozen Valderas Rivera, Jasmine Huggins, Lauren Jenny, Michael McNichol, is that Rawling Kalani, Keelan Fletcher, Ollie Drum, Morgan Muller, Sadie Millsap, Leah Mosier, Autumn Baker, Claire Childers, Matt Hayward, Evan Bruce, Eric Wilson, Sean Winowski, Michaela Brown, Haley McLaughlin, Alyssa Turner, Nia Glover, Megan Wyrick, Maggie Quinn, Johnny Texter Romero, Jordan Griffin, Donovan Sharp, Mandy Livingston, Maria Alvarez, Charlene Abercrombie, Gismar Jimenez, Bailey Taylor, Ashley Knight, Jasmine Carmona Almanza, Tamaya Pates, Cheyenne Hamilton, Felix Perry, Elise Perez, Amelia Villegas, Aaron McBride, Rebecca Forget, Sophia Skikun, Amelia Jadabel, Ryan Gleason, Nicole Kowalczyk, Ella McClellan, Nee Toby, Garen Hicks, Mike Washington, Andrew Leonard, Marianne Moss, Landon Meisen, Eugene Boland, Sammy Cook, Sarah Jurin, Alicia Leach, Sean Dimitri, Mallory Flory, Eloise Laverty, Kenneth Braxton, Kamaria Hill, Vinaya Hill, Addison Collett, Mia Dean, Adriana Borgelis, I probably butchered that, my apologies, Sophia Sherlock, Addison Pope, Ruby Hernandez, Zoe Hoffman, Sanaya, Nicole Payne, Professor Rebecca Mercado Jones, Isabella Yakub, Jane McCaffey, Ava Nick Nerdum, Jesse Ratzloff, Destiny Dejournette, Mae Morrison, Joe Butler, Sophia Vecchi, Axel Wolfsbane, Rhiannon Galloway, Alex Huddleston, Tanya David, Olivia Thompson, Layla Sherman, Aaron Atkinson, Yamil Smith, Kayla Rieger, Echo Cognito, the College Democrats of Oakland University, the Costume and Cosplay Club, Young Democratic Socialists of America, OU, Student Activities Funding Board, Grizzlies for Choice and Sage at OU, followed by a list of people who are willing to staff initiative that the speaker very kindly presented me with earlier today. So I wanted to read it because I wanted to make sure everybody heard it, it was on the record, because I know these people, I know one of the conditions that these people would have their names read at the GBM. So I wanted to make sure that it was known that I saw it, but I wanted to address a couple of things from my perspective that I don't recall taking place as simply put as it was in this. Because from my recollection, now, I've also been told that there are some concerns that something was presented in a specific way, and that there was a lot of behind closed doors action taking place, and that people didn't feel like there was a lot of communication involved in this process, and that people were of the impression that, well, I can see the impression people were under, and that I was going to take over the mindset of, this is all we're gonna get, we're not getting anything else, and I don't care what you tell me, this is what's gonna happen. And what was the other part that I wanted to address? So I will start by saying that not even just me, but no person who takes on this job can do so responsibly if they're gonna make a large shift in congressional policy and not talk to the legislature. So if at any point in communicating with me or Vice President Matthews, the inclination was given that we have no intention of communicating with the legislature, I want to address that now because we most certainly did. The first person I actually brought this up with to, besides Vice President Matthews, was the Speaker. Because it was my intention for her to communicate it to the legislature, which I'm starting to also learn might not be the best system of communicating information if so many people are feeling out of the loop. So that we could get your opinions, your perspectives, so that we know what to take back to Vice President Matthews. I will also say that the statement about over the course of the weekend, lots of people were trying to get in touch with me to tell me not to take this approval, to take this deal. I actually didn't hear anything from anyone. And I would also like to point out, when discussing the menstrual product initiative, the part where it says that I stated if the legislature didn't come up with those staff, basically whatever it is, fix the staffing or I'm taking the deal regardless of what you want. When I discussed this with Vice President Matthews, what I said to her was, if we being OUSC, are going to be the sole group responsible for these dispensers, then we have to fix the staffing issue. Now, I was not there when things were being communicated in one way or another, but I was not meaning that to be an ultimatum of fix the staffing issue or I'm doing what you don't want to have happen. I'm saying, if we're gonna do this, and we're serious about doing this, this is what we gotta do to make sure that we do it right. Not, how can we do it in a way that makes it look like we're doing something good? How can we do it so that the program is being maintained the way it deserves to be? Because you can ask anyone else in this room, my whole point, especially with this initiative, is I want to ensure that it is funded, staffed, and maintained well beyond my term, my administration, and that it lasts a really long time, because it's a great program, and students deserve it, they've come to expect it, and they've come to expect it from us. And yeah, so what's even more interesting about that actually is the only person in the legislature I actually had the opportunity to talk with over the weekend was the Speaker. She and I were together all day on Saturday, actually, and we only actually spoke once about this precise issue because I wanted to get an idea of where this notion was coming from that I was going to do X, Y, Z, this, that, and the third, and not a soul thought. Not, I don't want to word it that way because it sounds like a negative, but the concern I was having is I kept hearing that I said a lot of things, but no one asked me if I said them. A lot of people are saying I said things that I know I didn't say, and I talked to Vice President Matthews, and she said she didn't say it, but she did tell me she could see how in the discussion she had with people, she could see that they could take it that way. So I also want to bring up some things that were discussed in the legislature meeting that I was told were discussed, and I feel I could offer some input now. I was told you all did not like that when asking the Vice President of her personal opinions, she stated that she was to talk to me first before doing so. There's a very simple reason for that. Vice President Matthews was not at that meeting in a personal capacity. When she is in public acting as the Vice President, she and I must at all times be in lockstep and together. Meaning what she cannot do is give an opinion that at risks being different from an opinion I have. Because then it looks as if the two of us don't communicate, that there's dissension between the two of us, And that cannot happen. If you, well, it keeps cutting out. If a promise about this initiative or how we intend to approach it is what's desired, the appropriate person and the appropriate time and place to do so isn't at a formal meeting of the one person who can't get it. If you'd like a promise on this, you can talk to me, and I will offer a promise I'm in a position to give. But the vice president cannot, especially in a formal capacity. I believe it was discussed, because, right. I was also informed that she at times told multiple, when asked if she would or would not do something, she responded with, I can't promise one way or another, or something to that effect, which I'm almost certain is coded to many as, it means we're likely going to do what you don't want to do. I will repeat again that it is not her place to make any promises on behalf of anything because it is not. And I'm gathering from this experience, there's a very big game of telephone at play here, where someone says something, it is heard as something else, people take it as something else, and it becomes a whole brouhaha. I mention all of this to say that the post that was circulated to get people signed the petition that I read off found its way to the provost, and she reached out to VP Mackey on our behalf to see if he would be able to amend his original deal, which we found out today he did. He's changed his proposal from 1 dispensary per building to 2 dispensaries per building. Big fun. Actually, the director of the second act have been talking at length. I didn't talk with the speaker earlier about this, but I want to preface that with I have not met with Vice President Mackey. I don't know what Vice President Mackey's points are. I don't know what he's trying to look at. There are very little details I have access to. I just want you to be informed that I was brought this today. And I'm doing this because I'm hoping we can approach this from a sort of clean slate. Because apparently the way I tried to approach it last time didn't work. So I'm not trying that again. I'm going to bring it to all of you at once so that you all know that I want your opinion, I want you involved, and I want the robust collective conversation to happen. And I don't want anyone to feel like they were cut out of anything. With that, I will also say that there is a responsibility on behalf of not only Vice President Matthews and I, but us as an organization. Because now it is not just us at the table. The provost has kindly decided to intervene in a capacity on our behalf, meaning she's kind of putting herself out on the line here a little bit for us. And I think Advisor Miller will agree with me when I say that the one thing I will not do is make the provost look stupid for having backed us on this. So I say that to say that I'm certain, because I'm getting all of this out now, I don't have much more time to speak later. I'm certain that everyone in here is going to want me, because I talked with the speaker about this, to take that proposal to him that in no way, shape, or form decreases the service we provide, which I'm willing to discuss. I'm willing to flesh out what that can look like. But the other part I need to stress is our bargaining position, because we are not in the best position to tell the university to go kick rocks, since we have been the ones reaching out to them for the past few years now. This extends beyond even just me, and beyond the previous admin as well. Because the simple term is, when the guy who manages $150 million a year budget runs out in the rain to come chat with it, you take a moment to talk to him, especially when you want something. Right now, we have his ear. I don't think it'd be wise of us to just spit it away. Do I think there's a realm in which we can come up with a proposal to present to him that allows the university to take on part of it and still allows us to maintain a part that keeps the service where it is, but also makes it easier to function? Maybe. That's what I'd like to discuss. But the other part, I think, needs to be addressed is some of the things I've been hearing as far as how we've chosen to disagree with each other on things. Because I won't even address many vile things I've heard said about me around the office. I have heard that in the conduct of our meetings, especially when it comes to the vice president, I've heard the statements berate coming out. I've heard that people have opted to just start yelling at her in the office, or that when meeting with her, if they're not hearing something they like, storm out of the office, or everyone's targeting in on her in meetings because she's not saying something that people are wanting to be heard. And I'm saying all of this to say, besides the fact that we have a conduct policy, there are behaviors that are acceptable and there are behaviors that are unacceptable. Threatening to vandalize my office if I take this approval thing is unacceptable. Berating the vice president, I'm not naming names for a specific reason. Berating the vice president in the hallway is not acceptable behavior. Name calling, because I should also make it really clear, our walls are super. But name calling in the office, and I'm guilty of it when it comes to a lot of people outside of this organization, not acceptable behavior. Making death stares at the vice president in the meeting because you're upset with her.
Point of order, this is discussion on the menstrual product initiative. Whilst I find this conversation to be incredibly valuable and important, I just want to make sure that our agenda is followed.
Certainly with you.
Can I get a ruling on this from the parliamentarian?
I mean, I'm sure he's gonna circle back to the main subject, like this is.
Yeah, this is more so how we approach the main subject. So I'm gonna get back to that in a moment.
Yeah, he can
Thank you. I'm saying all of this to say, I get it. You don't like the proposal we were given. That is understandable. I guarantee you, I did not need a petition to tell me that. I didn't think you were gonna like when I proposed it to you. There are parts of it I didn't even like it proposed. But I'm gonna end it with, on this issue, I will say that I am sorry if at any point throughout our actions during this process, Vice President Matthews and I, especially on this issue, gave you all the inclination that we would be bad faith actors in working for the students. Or that in some way we would cut you out of the conversation, keep you from having a place in it because we work with you in working for the students. I will end my diatribe to say that I have inquired about allowing the SAFP chair to be included in future conversations, because as far as I've been told, not a single soul has mentioned to administration SAFP's involvement in the past. And to that I say, I'm not going to make any promises I can't keep, but I can promise that I'll bring it up. That's my way of saying it's not even a me decision on that. But I will bring it up to see if it's something that we can have as a standard practice going forward, because I did check with Advisor Miller and it's never been the practice before. But if it's a going forward practice that you all are requesting that we try to implement, I'll put it forward and I'll let you know what I get back. With that, I'm going to yield.
Thank you, Demore.
Firstly, thank you, President Johnson. Honestly, that saved me quite a lot of what I was going to say already. I just want to note the couple things mentioned about communication. I will note again that SAP was not notified, but I do appreciate the apology regarding communication, and I do work forward to improving that relationship in the future to prevent issues like this happening again. But yeah, honestly, I got nothing. I yield.
Do I need to okay, so I know this obviously has gotten very chaotic in the past week, and I do want to thank both President Johnson and Vicky Matthews for addressing this. I think it was definitely a needed conversation. On that note, for the sake of clarifying things and making sure that we improve communication going forward, I don't think it was the sense that you guys didn't want to hear from the legislature. I think it was more the perception that the legislature didn't think that their considerations on the matter would be heard and acted upon. So I appreciate you for addressing it, and I want to clear the slate, because at the end of the day, my top priority here is making sure that we make progress on this initiative. So with that being said, getting on to the topic of the initiative itself, I will say, I support the university getting involved with institutionalization in whatever capacity they're willing to do so with. Beyond that, I say, in order to make sure that we do not decrease the number of dispensers, in a perfect world, the way that I would prefer to see the initiative implemented would be to make sure that Student Congress continues to maintain the remaining dispensers and refill them, so that we aren't decreasing access to the service for other students. Whether that involves volunteers or Student Congress members ourselves, making sure that those are maintained, I'm open to discussion on. But I think top priority, and also based on the conversations we had at the legislature meeting, I think VP Matthews can also attest to this. I think the broad consensus is just that people don't want to see the number of dispensers decrease, no matter if the university is involved with institutionalization or not. So I'm glad we're discussing it, and I appreciate you both acknowledging the situation, the chaos that we've kind of experienced, and I'm glad to finally get back to productive work. With that, I yield.
Legislator Snell?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just seconding what Legislator Brummer said, I know myself, Legislator Juzwicki and Legislator Wolf have been sort of the three that have been spearheading this project, myself over summer, Legislator Wolf and Juzwicki over the fall. To that, I am thankful to them as well for their work over this program. With that, I would like to say that, with that said, the dispensers aren't just going to fall off the wall. As whether it's admin takes on 2 per building, 1 per building, none in the buildings, and it's all just us, they don't just fall off the wall whenever a decision gets made about them. Is there any way possible that VP Mackey, I believe, would even entertain the notion that yes, whatever they don't do, instead of removing these dispensers in some way, as you all are referring to this letters, instead it goes to just Student Congress takes over that number, so it maintains. The other concern I have is with 2 per bathrooms, does that ensure it would be in the gender neutral restroom, which, as we all know, often also functions as an accessible bathroom? With that, I yield.
President Johnson?
To quickly answer Legislator Snell's questions. The quickest answer I can give you is I'm not going to say yes yet because I haven't spoken to him about this yet. I did ask Judy in the Student Affairs and Diversity Office, who was kind enough to join us today, to set up a meeting with him. When that meeting is happening, we will all be made aware. But part of what I wanted the discussion to look like today was to help develop a proposal I take back to him. Because I am amenable to a proposal that says, whatever the university doesn't do, we do. Because when VP Mackey presented this proposal to me, he presented it in the way that there's avenue for expansion through the university budget process. As part of what he said was including this as a permanent line item in the university budget. So my thinking is if through that process we're able to get the university to take on more, we just take on less. Basically, the infrastructure stays, they just take it over and we continue doing what they're not doing. But that's what I wanted us to discuss it so that we could come up with a collective proposal put together to give to them.
Director Lozecki?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to mention that at least from my personal perspective, I'm in agreement that we should not accept any condition which leads to a practical reduction in quality of service for the students. And I think the way we need to approach this is to gain a fuller understanding of what we're being offered and go into a negotiation of sorts. Figure out what the university administration is willing to take on, and then figure out how student congress can fill in the gaps. Because that's my understanding is the university is not currently willing to take on the entirety of the program, but if, I think we would be kind of short-sighted to turn down an offer for them to take part of the load off our hands, and so that, student congress can sort of ease the staffing shortages that are sort of, causing problems for this program as it stands. I've been working on a few potential solutions for how to do that, and I'd be glad to discuss those at greater length either later in this meeting or one-on-one with anyone here who'd like to chat about them, but for now, I'll yield the floor and let everyone else have their say.
And I'll offer a quick point of information.
Just for a time's sake. Oh, sorry. Just for time's sake, as a reminder, the OC has said we gotta be out here at 7:30.
So as a reminder, they need to flip this room for another event. So I want to make sure everyone's aware of that, since everybody's got it. And I'm more than happy to devote this to an informal conversation in the office so that everybody can still offer input. But I'm just saying, for the sake of time at the meeting, I just wanted to offer that.
Okay, this is working. Having been an integral staff member of the Mental Product Initiative, I am confident, and I believe that Majority Leader Brummer and Legislator Ricky can attest to this also. That I do not think at this time, especially with a potential reduction in our obligation of amount of dispensers to be filled, I believe that our staffing could of these initiative, most prudently would occur within the organization. Me and one other legislator, so two legislators, with sporadic help from other legislators, we successfully staffed all 91 dispensers on campus in fall of 2024 and winter of 2025. Circumstances have changed, and I and my partner in this initiative have our obligations and life circumstances have changed, so we have not been able to dedicate as much time. But we are making additional, time within our schedule for this to try and overtake this. And additionally, I'm confident we can form a committee around this to solve this issue within our org, especially now that we have a director of student advocacy who is who under their job description and precedence this would fall under. And I'm confident we can staff this within our org. I believe that this is an issue of coordination, not of capability. I yield the floor. Legislator Commissioner.
What I attempted to be a good faith question for President Johnson. I'm confused what the reasoning was from the UNACI, from administration, why the current system needs to be downsized, and why, what's the line of reasoning with the solution to that involves both downsizing and administration taking on more work than the current system? What is the reason?
So the vibe I got in the meeting was more of I'm not gonna explain the way it was explained to me. This is how I interpreted it so that you can understand my part. He phrased it to me as, if we take this on, it's gonna look like this, right? Now, why? I'm gonna let you have about 30 minutes to talk to him, and about half of that time was spent with him telling us we only have 30 minutes to talk to him. But part of his talk was, I think through their own budget cuts, they have staffing shortages. I didn't have time to get into the intricacies of what is
Talk about what those staffing shortages actually mean as far as the day-to-day actual implications of what they can do and what they can't do. I also don't have an inside knowledge of how facilities handle their janitorial staffing. So that if I had to probably make it a lot easier for me to comment on that. But yeah, so the basis of why he wanted to do it, the framing I got was that this is just what the university is willing to take on. At this level, if they're going to be covering products and staffing and maintenance and all of that, they're willing to do so. That level, and we can talk about expanding it once we get it enshrined in the budget. So, again, it's a simple of your guess is as good as mine. I'm still trying to figure that part out. So
Chairperson Ludwig.
Does it work? Cool. So for those of you who aren't student members, my name is Natalie. I'm the chairperson of SAFB. I have a question, but first I'd like to provide some context for the dispensers that we bought. The 48 dispensers that SAFB bought were not just designated by SAFB, but they were designated by student boards. I wanted to mention that these dispensers were purchased by students that wanted this initiative to happen on campus, and they spent their entire special initiative budget, which totaled at $15,000 for them to buy these dispensers. They were all very passionate. I was not chairperson at the time. But I do know that all these individuals were extremely passionate about the project. And I spoke to my board about all of, about what I knew about the proposal. I did not know anything except for what was told to me through the grapevine at the time. And they do not like the idea of these dispensers going away, especially since they were purchased by students. And my board wanted to know why getting rid of the rest was the option. I know you mentioned that there was an admin thing about it, but I want to hear from you why, if it came from you, Becky, if it came from you to get rid of the rest of the dispensers, and your reason.
So when he mentioned the one dispenser per building notion, I asked him what would become of the rest of the dispensers, and that's where it came to. He would go utilize the dust process to sell them and return the money to OUSD and SAFB. So I hope that answers the question. At least
All right, just because it's been brought up a couple of times, I think Director Losecki brought it up, and I think Chairperson Ludwig at least alluded to it. I really wanted to bring up my whole volunteer system plan that was referenced in that statement read by President Johnson. However, we do have at least one time-sensitive bill on the rest of the agenda, and notably, we do need to get out of this room in about 36 minutes. So with that being said, I would like to motion to end debate and to move this to the legislature meeting on Friday.
Second. We shall move on to any closing motions. Then we can move on to new business, which is the approval of the judiciary committee presented by Valentine.
Hello, everybody. I think this is the first time I've been up here since I was voted in, so glad to be back up here. Today I have two people going up for Judiciary Committee. Both came up to me to talk about Judiciary Committee and how they could get involved and like what they can do to get ready for getting involved. So with that, I have a lot of confidence in both of these people. So I'll let Mario come up here and talk.
those of you that know me know that I'm a very busy person, and I'm also the kind of person that's kind of at my limit whelmed a lot of the time. I work 3 jobs, including student congress. I take as many classes as I can afford. Right now I have 3 papers that I'm working on. That was true when I wrote the speech last week, and it's still true for different reasons. Some of you know that for the last 2 weeks, I've been dealing with a car that I rely on that broke down. And I have some incredible appreciation for Legislator Wolf, Director of Patton, for helping me with transportation during that time. My point is, I do a lot, but during all that time, I set aside the time to read pretty much all of my laws. Most of it on my own time, off the clock. That's because I really care about student congress. It's always one of my highest priorities, no matter what I have going on in my life and my academic life. One of the greatest feelings in the world is when you get to do something that genuinely helps the student community. Last week, there was something that I'd never seen before, where a student came into the office and needed a pregnancy test, and we were able to provide one and like just to help that person out. And that was a really powerful thing to witness, and I think I'll remember that for a very long time. I see the Judiciary Committee as the next way that I can do my part for this body and for the campus community. I'm a pre-law student, so that's a focus that suits me well, and I assert that I have the ability to remain impartial and to stand on the principles of the ILS above any personal connections. With that, I yield. Thank you.
Question? I'll check for side. I think we have enough. Oh, apologies.
So how many we got online?
Yeah.
2012.
12.
Do we have a list?
We definitely got 12.
Yeah.
There we go.
Apologies.
Yes, I do. You have questions for me? I was able to fix my car. It took 16 hours of labor and $250 because I can't afford to take it to a mechanic.
What went wrong?
Point of order.
Please keep it to this discussion on track. Thank you.
If there are no further questions at this time.
We'll have to, are we discussing Mario first and then voting and then Navicle go up? Or voting both?
Yeah,
I feel like that makes most sense.
let's have Mario step out and then we can vote.
Okay, that makes most sense. Thank you, Mars.
LaBelle.
Thank you. I just want to say something really quickly. When I was putting together the Judiciary Committee at the beginning of the summer, and I got an excess amount of interest, and I had the 5 people to put on the committee, Mario was number 6 and was not able to. So I think Mario is a great pick. With that, I yield.
So, the main reason why I chose Mario was genuinely because Mario came up. Mario came and asked me about Judiciary Committee. I know previously he was interested but was unable to. So I thought, why not? And then it was just a matter of whether he put effort into it. And I saw that throughout the 2 weeks I've been waiting to put them up. So, when I'm in the office, Mario sometimes is also in the office, and whenever I ask him what he's doing, he's looking over the bylaws, which is very important, especially for this job, and you have to know the bylaws. So, all in all, I have full confidence in him, to memorize the bylaws and also be an unbiased. With that.
Any other discussion? Speaker DeWar,
Yay.
Majority Leader Bremer,
Yay.
Judiciary Chairperson Tracy,
Yay.
Mayor Support Chairperson Myers.
Yay.
Legislator Black,
Yay.
Legislator Rosario,
Yay.
Legislator Snow,
Yay.
Steering Chairperson Lopez,
Yay.
Parliamentarian Moore,
Yay.
Legislator Susie. Yay. Legislator Lunger,
Yay.
Legislator Markowitz, Legislator Martino, Legislator Nixon, Legislator Olbert,
Yay.
Legislator Wolf,
What a privilege.
Mark, Republican, Judiciary.
Yeah.
Want both of them?
No, I'm gonna have the square. Wait till I go down. Wait till you guys are ready to eat.
Wait till you go down?
Yeah.
Okay, let me put it.
Cause I'm gonna go when you guys are done. I'm gonna leave.
Congratulations.
Oh,
You didn't vote.
I mean, can vote.
Oh, abstain.
You stand.
Moving on to the approval of column black for the judiciary presented by
Hello. All right, Chairperson Faye today very kindly yielded the floor to me. I suppose I need no introduction. But in case you don't know, hello, I'm Colin, Legislator Black. I've been here a few weeks and I'm very happy to be here. I've been not silenced, but cut off twice now this meeting because I have thoughts that I now have to save for Friday on the menstrual product initiative that are more positive than you would expect. And I also had a lot to say about the Judiciary Committee and general principles and such that were put much more eloquently by my colleague, Legislator Crescendaro, than I ever could have myself. I will just stick to my bullet points, and because we have time-sensitive legislation that I emphatically support and want to pass, I will get through them as quickly as I can. As far as I understand it, being on the Judiciary Committee requires a solid and actionable understanding of the bylaws, which I have striven to accomplish. I have been diligently working on studying them over the course of the last several weeks, and as my colleagues can attest, my more experienced colleagues can attest, anytime I've come up on something that I've found important for me to understand on a deeper level, that has brought me concern, that has brought me curiosity, I have not hesitated to ask about it, and seeking out those answers has been a very enjoyable process for me. It makes me feel as though the rest of my work with the Judiciary Committee will be fruitful and fulfilling for me. I've been working closely, of course, with Chairperson Fayette in that process. We have a good working relationship that, should I be approved to the committee, I am sure will continue. Beyond that, I am deeply and profoundly committed, as again, Legislator Krishandaro phrased far more eloquently than I could, to OUSC as an institution. That is one thing I was going to touch on with the Menstrual Product Initiative, is that I have felt so much drive to work through OUSC and to be a part of OUSC in the midst of all this, because I can see now just how concretely the work we do here can affect students on the best of days. And I have a deep commitment to OUSC as an institution running smoothly, which is work that I would like to be doing on the Judiciary Committee. As anyone who has spent any amount of time with me and has seen me navigate matters of personal dispute and conflict can attest, I have used the phrase, I remain neutral at least once around anybody I'm close with, and that would be my approach to the Judiciary Committee, always, regardless. I strive to be as impartial as I can possibly be, to set aside personal connections in the interest of preserving what we do here. And overall, I feel I can use the guidelines I'm given, the leadership of my potential future chairperson, and the bylaws as my final say, rather than any of my own biases. I would be delighted to be included on this committee. I would love to add it to the list of work that I'm already doing for OUSC. And I suppose that's that. With that, I yield. Forgot about that.
Legislator Kushner.
How do you think what I said was more eloquent than what you said? Is my question.
I'm under the gun right now because there's time-sensitive stuff. So you had time to expound on your thoughts and took it slow. I rushed.
Questions for legislative elections? Chairperson Faith.
Out of the respective time, all I can say is that I second everything that they said. They're extremely dedicated, they're extremely impartial, and they have worked with me to understand the bylaws, and they have been in the office studying the bylaws every single day. So with that, please.
Assistant Chairperson.
Yeah, I just want to say, Legislator Black is one of the most kind and empathetic souls I've ever met in my entire life, and I think that those qualities are absolutely crucial to judiciary. With that, I yield.
Hearing no other first discussion, we can go into a vote. Speaker DeWart.
Yay.
Majority Leader Bummer.
Yay.
Chairperson Faith.
Yay.
Community Support Chairperson Waters.
Yay.
Legislator Black. Legislator Rosario.
Yay.
Legislator Sedano.
Yay.
Steering Chairperson Valdez.
Yay.
Parliamentarian Bummer.
Yay.
Yay. Legislator.
Yay.
Legislator Wilbur.
Yay.
Legislator Markowitz. Legislator Martino. Legislator Mitchell.
Legislator Over,
Yay.
Legislator Kushner,
Yay.
all right, you can call legislator Butler.
What the vote?
Legislator Blackwood. To our next order of business is
CB 6817.
CB 6817, presented by legislator.
Hello, yes, I'm so sorry to kind of be the reason why the previous discussions and things had to be rushed. However, the ofrenda is being billed the 31st, meaning all products have to be ordered by the 18th. However, Halo has graciously allowed Student Congress to help sponsor and provide small tea lights, which we already had in Congress. They have also asked us to provide monarch butterflies for their ofrenda. That is a big part of the culture and a part of what they have asked for. Each set of butterflies is approximately $9.97. As such, in the legislation, please be pulled up on screen. We will be creating a line item called Heritage Month expenses. These will then cover all Heritage Month line items from now until the end of the semester, including but not limited to this, Native American Heritage Month, and Middle Eastern Heritage Week. This would also move $20 from unclassified funds to Heritage Month expenses. I'm not too worried about going over it because every overage we have will then just simply carry on to the next Heritage Week or month. With that, I yield. Or any questions? With that, I yield. Thank you.
The next order of business is CB 6818, presented by Assistant Chairperson Luda.
Hi, everyone. So a lot of the topic of conversation regarding the menstrual product initiative was like the issue of maintaining it for future use and ensuring it's still there. So that's what this does. This is here to codify the menstrual product initiative into our bylaws. If you could just scroll down to the actual like actionable part of the bill. Yeah, thank you. Because of our time constraints, I'm not going to read this all out. I'm just going to tell you what it says. Of course, it's the first reading. We can do that next meeting. So essentially what this does is it mandates we have a $3,000 line item. It adds a section to the legislative requirements requiring legislators to fill menstrual products, and of course it's like there's an exception to it. I'll expand on that later. It adds, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. I completely apologize. It adds the menstrual product initiative to the student advocacy director's job description, as well as running the menstrual product committee to their job description. And if you could scroll down just a little bit more, President Johnson, thank you very much. It adds to the executive committees, part of the bylaws, the executive committee for the menstrual product initiative. With that, I yield to questions.
Are there any questions for Assistant Chairperson LaBelle at this time? Majority Leader Brummer.
So just adding on to part of the purpose with this, this would essentially add a requirement constitutionally to uphold and continue the menstrual product initiative, which would help to ensure that longevity and make sure that it continues in between differing administrations. With that, I yield, just as a quick information.
Yep.
Are there any points of discussion for Assistant Chairperson LaBelle at this time? Seeing none, moving on to the agenda. Next up on the agenda is CB 6815, is presented by Legislator Snell. Legislator Snell, you have the floor.
Thank you. So. Hello again. This one is another Heritage Week / project we have been graciously offered the opportunity to collaborate on, this time with the Native American Advisory Committee. They have a Native business panel, which will be an opportunity for us to engage with students and help encourage students to engage with Native communities on campus, as well as hopefully encourage them to, of course. I'm so sorry, I'm losing my train of thought as this one budget was a bit amended, quite literally 3 seconds ago, to make sure that the expense line actually existed. No, I got it, thank you. So with that, it would simply be for us to provide, as the whereas statement says, lemonade, water, and cookies to that panel as per their request. This would be approximately $996.94 worth of food to provide for the whole thing. However, again, as I said, anything over or less, we can simply move on to put towards the last Heritage Week we will be having this semester, which will be Middle Eastern Heritage. Any questions?
Questions for Legislator Snell on that? We'll be moving forward to new business. Next up is new business is CB 68 will now be 19, presented by Legislator Snell. Legislator Snell, you once again have the floor.
Awesome. So remember that women's committee I've been telling you guys for months will be getting done? It's done. Yes. That's all this does. It makes it done. I am very happy to finally get this off my plate. Yeah, that's it. Any questions?
Chairperson Waters.
Thank you. I just wanted to just quickly ask, this will work like the rest of the ad hoc committees we had, or is there something that like is added on there that wasn't in the other ones, just for clarification?
No, this one works just like the other ones, although I do see that I accidentally in line 1 wrote about that it was for disabled students and not women and female students. Whoopsies, I wrote that one too, fun fact. But yeah, no, it functions the same, although in the guidelines, I was talking with chairperson, speaker for a bit in the office. Part of that committee would also take on the responsibility of billing menstrual products in their meetings if there was nothing they had to discuss.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Of course.
Questions for Legislator Snell? Chairperson Ludwig.
Yes, I actually would be hoping that a trans woman would be able to lead or chair this committee. In order to get the wide variety of what womanhood on a college campus could be, we also will be working with the Women Employee Resource Group. They actually, I believe their co-chair was the one who approached us with the idea, and we have been working closely with them in order to ensure such an experience. Another main goal of this would be for, I know Legislator Brummer was quite excited, and this would also be the committee that kind of works towards helping craft and form the women's resources, women's panel resource space on campus that's also been very long time discussed. Kind of, yeah, we should totally do this, but no one sat and made plans. This would be the committee that sits and makes plans for it.
Noting the time constraints and the fact that we will most certainly not get through the rest of the agenda, I would like to motion to adjourn this meeting at this time.
I second that.
objections, then we'll adjourn this meeting at 7:20.
Point of information, Madam Chair. Will, the report scheduled for this meeting just be carried over to the next in this case? Okay. So they should be read into the public record if they're not for the GD. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Now, let's go on to this next meeting.
Guys, I needed this.
Keep it hanging up.
How many is making?
I was talking about it today. Got here. Because the Tigers game just started.
On the size.
Well, I mean, I'm better than that. More today, but I have to even spend it, say,
Isn't that a question in the, is that not a question in either of the employment forms? So like the one for OSI and the one that we created?
Because when we asked him, he said he was. We. They should. Because he hasn't been six. I didn't want to tell you, the meeting sort of knocked you out of your game.
I don't think it would have made a difference.
Not presently, but I'd recommend stopping by the bathroom. Because we have to order more for the office in general. That should happen. It's also why I didn't tell anyone that I was upset for the outbreak of social media part. Part of me was actually aware of that. Not the part where we had to recognize things like in social media. The part that was like, well, I'm glad they're at least something. But no, it happens. It happens. And I'll explain it, but it's so cool. It doesn't sound like something else. Let me try to. You know me. I hope you know me. I didn't tell you that on my campaign. Do you feel that I would like to be? No, I really like.